Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Nemesis Online Racing League Championship. Round number 11 at Hockenheim has we've gone live a little bit early, well, at 7:30 AM, which is the time I would always go live at, but just waiting for a couple more people to be joining up, and then we'll be ready to go. Alright, I'm just getting the tweet sorted out. As the drivers are mainly talking about how difficult turn 1 is going to be, and I did a little bit of a time trial earlier on, and yeah, turn 1 is not so fun. And with the strict corner cutting penalties on, I think that we'll see an absolute barrage of penalties coming the way of our screen, just in the bottom left hand corner. Alright. Tweet is sent out. Yep, there we go. The tweet is done. There's just waiting for Ragno and Danny to join. Danny Binahar, of course. Ragno's in, so we're just waiting for Danny. And we surely won't be too long away now for our one-shot qualifying session, I should say. Now, I actually haven't got the chat up, so that's very naughty of me. So I haven't actually seen what people have been saying. Nope. Hello, Liza. I'm doing well, mate. How you doing? Hello, King No Skill, and hello, Addy. Up the alcohol. Much agreed to that. If you follow me on Twitter, you'd see that from the other night. But how are you all doing on this otherwise fine Sunday evening, of course, for you guys in Europe and in the UK? So I've accidentally clicked onto that. We're just waiting for Danny, I believe. He's joined now. Alright, we should be getting underway any second now. Any second. So I just need to change into a bit more appropriate clothing. Don't think the shorts are fantastic at the moment. It's actually a little bit chilly here. A little bit, just in the morning. Seem to be starting to ready up now. Sorry, just had to quickly check that. ASMR nibble stripping. Me and Hefford are watching, hoping for an entertaining race like 2018 and 2019. Yeah, well, Hockenheim is an incredible racetrack and usually does deliver some great races. So fingers crossed that it isn't a bit of a snooze fest and that we have a good race. And who knows, maybe we can have some dynamic weather during this race, because of course, what made this year's race so good, or also last year's race so good, was the rain. Certainly in real life, what a fantastic race that was. One of the best races of the decade. Absolutely. Oh, and I've actually just realised I have the volume on my phone so I could hear myself. It's not what you want to be doing. But yeah, sadly, I missed the last race. At Silverstone, I fell asleep because I'm a silly idiot. And yeah, now just waiting for the lobby to load. Hope you and Addy have a very good night, Hereford. Hope you do. It's going to be dry weather here for the one-shot qualifying session. It'll be interesting to see what type of setup the drivers run. Are they going to run a little bit more of a high downforce or a little bit of a lower downforce setup? Because of course there's a couple of long straights here, but of course the last sector is certainly part of the track where you need quite a bit of downforce all the way through the stadium section, especially in the race when the tyres do usually get a little bit warmer than what you want. But here we go, we have on board with Lights of the Greek through turn 1, and as you can see, very cautious through turn 1 is Lazar, as now we're going to make our way up the field a little bit more. We're still following on board with Lazar because he doesn't want us to leave him. And here we go. We'll go on board with Dougie Aframan. So we'll go on board with Ed. There's now to come down towards the hairpin. Looks all pretty smooth there for Ed. It's not a corner where you really want to be taking the apex low. I would say he did run a little bit wide on the exit of the corner there. Now we're going to go up towards the front more. It's Dougie Aframan just at the start of the third sector now, about taking a little bit too tight of a line through there. It's going to compromise his run, but seems like he's done a pretty good job as he's up in the third, as Maverick on the soft compounded tyres is all the way up in second place, and for a man who hasn't done much practice, but that's not what you want to be doing, and went a little bit wide there through that corner, but he's still in second place. But it looks like the man who is comfortably ahead of the rest is Bolt, and it looks like he's going to take pole position by a whopping 0.6 of a second. As we have the two Mercedes behind him, in Maverick and Ed, then followed by Dougie Aframan, Chiller Killer, who set the exact same time. Yes, Dougie Aframan and Chiller Killer set the exact same time for 4th and 5th, but Mercedes driver is going to be ahead for that one. Not entirely sure why it's gone like that. There must have been some sort of difference. But there we go. Chiller Killer in 5th, Ragnar in 6th, Chazza in 7th on the medium compound tyres. Ed also on the medium compound tyres. It's important to note that. Val in 9th, so Lola Power in 8th. 9th is Val, 10th is Skull, 11th is Murcielago, 12th is Danny Binhal, 13th Lights of the Greek, Testamai in 14th, and Shektafa last of all in 15th place. So I'm pretty sure those two actually had penalties. I can't exactly remember. And it looks like it's going to be at least a dry start to this race. No rain at the start, although it does look like there is clouds in the distance, so who knows. There could be some mixed conditions in this race. As let's see if I can try and find the championship standings to get us through the formation lap and everyone loading in. Everyone trying to adjust fuel settings and all of that. But yes, last time out we had Bolt finishing in 4th place, ending his very strong run of results. Well, actually, ever since, well, I wouldn't say he's had not a strong result since frickin' Australia, where he finished 9th. Since Bahrain, he's either finished 2nd, 1st or 4th. So he's been on absolute fire, but the championship battle closed a little bit by Ed in that last time out Silverstone. Bolt leads championship on 188 points. Ed in second on 162 points. Addy in third on 151. Chazza, of course, who missed 4 races at the start of the season, very unfortunate for him, is on 95. Then we have Ragnar in fifth on 87. Val and his teammate Chiller Killer on 66 and 58 points respectively. Then we have J Hobson UK on 39. We have Hereford on 38. We have Murcielago on 36. The Maverick on 33. Dougie Afferman on 18. Testameister on 18. I think that was right. Yeah. Yep, that was right. Alright. Well, I'm not going to read that anymore because that's actually putting a little bit of a strain on my eyes, not going to lie. But we managed to get past quite a huge amount of the drivers, actually. So, I'm going to show quite a huge chunk of this formation lap, so that's nice. Because, well, the formation lap is pretty boring, let's be honest. As Bolt is now backing up the field to make sure that his tyres don't get too cold, as we have Maverick and Ed already back on the grid. Along with Ragnar and Chazza. So both the Mercedes and both the Ferraris are there on the grid already. Half the grid is already on the grid because of contact. But here comes the pole man, Bolt, TBD. He's now lined up on the grid, and so is Scheckter for now in 14th place. And here we go. Now we have 2, we have 3, we have 4, and we have 5 lights. And lights out, and away we go. It looks like it was a very strong start for our pole man in Bolt there. It looks like the head of the Mercedes has gone around the outside of his teammate Maverick, and Maverick has gone spinning into the wall. Early contact between the Mercedes. There's a Ferrari on the grass. Who is that? That's Chazzy. He's all the way down in 10th place. What a chaotic start there between the two Mercedes. We've got a racing point at Alfa Romeo side by side. It's all looking very, very tight here. It's Val is trying to get a move done on his teammate. And further up was also Dougie Afferman trying to get a move done there. There's also Chaz is trying to get up past Lance of the Greek. It looks like Lola Power's hit the Ferrari of Ragno, and then also has hit Chilica as Val losing the rear, an absolute treat there. You might have also had a little bit of tiny contact there with Danny Ibn Lahar. As Danny Ibn Lahar is going to try to go around the outside of Val, but that's never going to be on there. Looks like it's been an absolute barnstorming start here. Oh, as Dougie Afferman's gone off into the gravel, and is he going to be able to make sure he doesn't go on the track? Yes, he has done a very good job there as Dougie Afferman to make sure that he didn't go careening across the track. Oh, as we have Scheckter for the losing the rear end, an absolute treat there as well. But it's absolutely all kicking off here. Lola Power, who I think has some front wing damage, is correct. An absolute train if I've ever seen one. All the way from 5th, all the way up down to 10th. And there you go, you can see from turn 1, Val getting all out of shape there. And now he's lost many positions to Chazza, to Danny Ibn Lahar, and to Lazar the Greek. And Testameister with an absolute send up the inside of Lazar the Greek and Val. But he hasn't been able to get the move done on Lazar the Greek. And the Williams driver looking very strong here in these early stages of the race. Trying to get a move done past Danny Ibn Lahar. But now Danny Ibn Lahar's teammate is going to make it 3 wide. Oh, and there's been contact, and Testameister is out of the Grand Prix. They were 3 wide, but I don't think Lazar was aware. I think he might have put a squeeze on Danny Ibn Lahar there without even realising. And Testameister's out of the Grand Prix. Both drivers have significant damage. And after all of that, Lola Power is in 6th place, Chaz is in 5th, and Testameister, and Chilikill is up into 4th place. And already, after... Oh, we have a virtual safety car. We have a virtual safety car. Gee whiz. What an opening 2 laps we've had there. But Dougie Afferman spinning, of course, Maverick having contact with his teammate Ed at turn 1, which resulted in him spinning. But I'm sure the drivers will be very happy that there is a virtual safety car, because it's a chance for them to pit. And I'm pretty sure Lola Power has some front wing damage, but he's chosen not to pit. And here we go. We're back under racing conditions, green flag conditions. It looks like Chaz has actually lost out quite a bit there to Chiller Killer up ahead. But now Chazza will potentially have to defend from Lola Power here down the straight. And it looks like we might be having a move here with Murcielago and Val. Not quite. Murcielago doesn't really decide to go for a move in the end, but he's going to have Skull going around his outside, is he? No, he just hasn't got a good enough run out of the corner to get a move done there. Was Skull. As Murcielago is absolutely lagging up a storm as per usual. Sadly, his Austrian internet just isn't that great. As Skull here through now the stadium section is looking to close in on the Red Bull driver. Of course, there's a yellow flag somewhere. Not entirely sure what it is for, but we'll see. We'll see if anyone has dropped down the grid. We have Schechter who's dropped down, and he's got gravel on his tyres. I assume that Schechter has lost it in the right hander going into the final sector, and that is the reason why we've had some yellow flags there. As it seems like the grid is just separating quite a bit here. There's no real battles going on at the moment. The closest gap is this half a tenth battle between Murcielago and Val. Is Murcielago going to send it? No, he's not going to send it from that far back, as he stutters forward with the lag. But Val doesn't look to be doing too great so far this race. I don't know if he's saving his ERS or saving some fuel as he runs wide there. Val, I think, still getting... I don't think Val's been on the game too much since there hasn't been any races since we've been on our little holiday break. Festive holiday break. As now Val is catching up to Lola Power. All the way through the middle sector, and he's nearly gone for a move there at the penultimate corner. That would have been quite ballsy indeed. As Murcielago is just really spectating on here, looking to see if anything happens, if there is any mistakes, as I just noticed that the gap between first and second is half a second, so we might have to go back up towards that. Let's see if Val does anything here into turn 2, and he does not, as now Chaz is going to try to make a move on Chiller Killer on the medium compounded tyres, I should say. Gets the move done very comfortably, and Chazza is now up into 4th place in this Grand Prix. Pretty solid start there for Chazza. But now we have Ed attacking Bolt. All of a sudden, it looks like these soft compound tyres of Bolt have gone off the cliff, because the gap was about 1.5 seconds. And now Ed is absolutely all over the back of him. You can see the Bolt is struggling from quite a little bit of understeer. Didn't look like it from that corner, but from the previous couple it did. Well, both drivers struggling there as Ed locks up a little bit and Bolt just runs completely wide. But he's able to hold on to his position as Ed nearly loses the rear end, or does lose the rear end, and nearly goes spinning around. He's a very, very lucky boy not to end up in the wall there, as Ratno is now coming to the pits to make his first pit stop of the race. You can see the rear end of Bolt. He's absolutely everywhere at the moment. And let's see if he can hold on down this straight. I think it's going to be a difficult task for him to hold on here. It's now Ed activates the DRS, and you can see how much he's gaining. The slipstream down this back straight is so powerful along with the DRS, and Ed is going to go and try and make the move around the outside of Bolt. They go side by side. Ed, with a little bit of wheel banging there, is forced wide by Bolt, but who has got the better run? Coming now up into this left-hander. Bolt is ahead, but he's got the outside line. Ed has got the inside line. They leave each other. Good racing room there. But now it looks like it's going to be Ed. He's gone completely around the outside of Bolt. What a move that is. And what terrific racing between the two drivers, leaving each other plenty of space. Fantastic move around the outside by Ed there, and he just simply has more grip than the Renault driver. And both drivers nearly losing the car in the last 2 laps through that corner, as now Bolt is going to come to the pits, and I think that is a very, very good decision, because he was absolutely struggling on. I think he's activated the pit lane limiter way too early. There's Dougie Afterman's gone for another spin. So we also have Chiller Killer, Skull and Lollapalooza into the pits. Now, and here we go, Murcielago out of the first corner. He's going to try to get a move done on Val here. Going into turn 2, he doesn't really commit to the move whatsoever as Val left the door completely wide open. There is multiple drivers already getting some penalties. Chazza and Ragno already got some penalties. What on earth is happening here? Is Murcielago legs through Val's car. Val defending the inside line here. As all of a sudden it's just got oh so very cloudy. Now what's that about? Is now Val trying to defend, almost not giving Murcielago car's width of space there. Now Murcielago going to try to go around the outside, but Val's not going to allow you to do that, that's for sure. Val, a very experienced driver, make sure he brakes very late to make sure that he can't go around the outside, and Murcielago is suffering from quite a significant amount of lag here, and it's awful. It's pretty hard to watch on board here, and as you can see, Bolt had such an awful pit stop that he's now only just ahead of Ragno. I don't know if Bolt had to change his front wing or not, if it was just that he activated way too early before the pit lane limiter, or before the pit lane line. But Ragno now through turn 1, taking it very cautiously, and of course already on a 3-second time penalty. Needs to be making sure that he does take things with a little bit of extra caution. As Dougie Afterman has gone spinning around, and what a disaster it has been for Dougie Afterman. He was all the way up in 3rd or 4th place, I think it was, and he went spinning around in the final sector. And since then it's been an absolute nightmare of a race, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him retire from the Grand Prix now. As Scheckter and Danny have been just been battling. It's now Lollapalooza trying to get past. Scheckter has gone onto the gravel, onto grass I should say. Danny Bin Lahar running a little bit wide there as well. And here we go, we have Scheckter, the Haas driver, in the slipstream of Lollapalooza. It looks like he just has so much, he's using so much more ERS than the Racing Point driver, and Scheckter has to completely cut the corner and nearly go into the wall because he outbroke himself that much that if he didn't do that, he would have went careening into the side of Danny Bin Lahar. Danny Bin Lahar quite aggressive there, not giving Lollapalooza exactly the most amount of room through that Pacific corner. As Bolt sets fast lap the Grand Prix at 1:15.8. He's on charge, and we have now the other Toro Rosso in the wall. Not been a good day for the Toro Rosso boys so far, that is for sure, as Bolt has managed to get his way past Murcielago very quickly indeed, and now all over the back of the Alfa Romeo driver is Bolt as he makes his way past Val. Up back into 3rd place now is Bolt, and he'll be looking to build that advantage rather quickly, as he does have much fresher tyres than the Alfa Romeo driver of Val. As let's get some little bit of info up. As you can see, we've had a couple of pit stops so far, or more than a couple. About half the grid, everyone except for Scheckter, Murcielago, Val, Chazza and Ed have pitted as Bolt just went through the gravel there. I thought that he was gonna lose the car there, but he got away with it, and all of a sudden it has got super dark here. I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some rain. Oh, as I've nearly absolutely dragged my controller off, as Ragno's going to get up the inside of Murcielago into turn 1. I think Murcielago's just let him through there, making sure that Ragno's race isn't entirely ruined if he just all of a sudden lags. As now Bolt has actually got a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings as well. And as you can see, Murcielago was closing up a little bit to Ragno, but he was never going to be close enough to make a move. So Ragno is now trying to get past his Italian counterpart of Val, who were going to be in the same team, but Ragnar said, "Nah, mate, I'll be in the Ferrari." They're both going to be teammates in the Alpha, I believe. And he said, "Nope, I want to be in the Ferrari." So that is why they are not teammates. As Ragnar is looking very quick at the moment. Of course, having already made a pit stop compared to his Italian counterpart in Val, trying to go up the inside turn 1, not going to quite work when he's that far back. But into turn 2, and perhaps at the hairpin he can make something happen here. Can Ragnar? He's going to get a much better run out of this corner than Val. Pretty good run indeed. And now with the DRS open, he doesn't even have to go into overtake mode. He can just stay in the second mode. And Ragnar, with the inside line, is going to get past Val and move up into P4 in this race. A very easy move there for Ragnar. Val tries very valiantly for some sort of switchback, but with the fresher tyres of Ragnar, it was just never ever going to happen. And now Ragnar moves himself up into P4. And as I was mentioning, it is getting darker and darker as we go into this race. So I'm assuming at some point in this race the heavens will open and we'll see some wet weather conditions, which will be very difficult for the driver, especially turn 1 in this last sector. Such very technical parts of the track, and if it starts to rain whilst you've got some slick tyres on, we've seen what happened in real life. We've seen what happened to Hulkenberg, Leclerc. They've all gone careening off at the final corner. Let's hope that our drivers here able to do a bit better job than that, as we have Chillicothe in 7th place, trying to put pressure on Murcielago in P6th. And he might have him here for dead meat with a beautiful run. Coming out of turn 3 there, there's now Chillicothe trying to go the long way around past Murcielago. Beautiful camera shot there. It must be said, and Chillicothe has got the job done up into P6, and he's now right behind his teammate Val in P5. I wouldn't be surprised if Chillicothe is able to get a move done on Val in the coming laps, as it looks like Chillicothe has got some very good pace on him at the moment. I do believe that Chillicothe has made a pit stop. Indeed he has, so he does have fresher tyres than Val, and you can see that right there as Val's gone massively wide, trying to squeeze him. And Val has absolutely scared Chillicothe out the move there. But now Val with another mistake, as they're going to go side by side. Are they? No, not quite. Oh, don't touch that inside curb. It usually ends very badly as they're going side by side through the last sector here of the Alfa Romeos, as I think there was a little bit of contact there in the penultimate corner, but I'm not entirely sure from the camera angle that I was on, as Chillicothe stays behind Val, and he would have had an easy move up the inside of the right-hander there in the final sector, but he backed out of the move, and yeah, that ultimately cost him the move there. But now with some DRS and some ERS, he should quite comfortably have this move done on Val, because look how close he is. And there you go, he's gone into hot lap. He nearly goes into the back of Val, as he chose it very late to come outside the slipstream. And there we go, Chillicothe is now going to move up into 5th place, and Murcielago, I'm not entirely sure how he's done that, but he's got past Val as well, and Val's lost 2 positions in the span of a straight. As now, here we go, it's just started to rain, the heavens have opened, and let's see how the drivers handle these conditions. And you can see that the driver's going to be immediately experiencing a lack of grip, as Murcielago's running wide, as now Val's running wide. I did also notice that Val does have some front wing damage on the left hand side here, so whenever the drivers have to pit for some intermediate tyres, if they do have to pit for some intermediate tyres, that he will also get that front wing fixed. But we haven't gone on to our leader in a while, and here we go, we'll go on board with Ed. Of course, starting on the medium compounded tyres has really just opened up this race for him, because of course Bolt was leading the early stages of this race, but he started on the soft compound tyre, and ever since Bolt has pitted, he hasn't exactly been able to make much inroads, as Chazzo has kept it a reasonable 3.5 seconds ever since the pit stops. I think Chaz actually might have just closed the gap a little bit over the last couple of laps, as Ed running ever so close to the gravel there on the outside. of the right hand, and yeah, it does look like Chazza is starting to close. And if there is one strong suit of Chazza's driving, if everything isn't strong, it is his pace in wet conditions. He's an absolutely fantastic wet weather driver, as I know, because I usually get my I'd usually get absolutely slammed by Chaz in any sort of wet weather condition. So this race is far from over, especially with now the rain that has just started to fall on circuit. As now the corners will become even more difficult, and if they have to go on intermediate tyres, turn 1 I assume is just going to be absolute hell, as now Val has come into the pits. I think that's an early pit stop, if I'm going to be completely honest with you. Usually I'd give it another couple of laps, if I'm completely honest. Of course, I don't know how the grip levels feel, but Val has also got a 5-second time penalty, it seems, that he has to be serving here. And he's decided not to change his front wing there. So Val is going to come out in 7th place, I would assume. And here we go, we've got Lazar coming into the pits now. Lollapower's not going to follow him, as Scala's gone spinning around again. Those Alfa Romeo drivers seem to be hating that right-hander. Oh, as we have Danny Bin Lahar on the intermediate tyres, and let's actually see now what tyres everyone is on. And here we go, Val, as we have also Lazar just coming into the pits now. But let's see what the leaders decide to do. The leaders are continued on at least for another lap, but let's see if any drivers behind follow suit. As Scheckter has done well there to get out the way of Ragnar in what was a very difficult spot to get out of the way. And there we go, Chillikill and Ragnar continue on. So the drivers at the front think it's alright to continue on, and well, quite honestly, I think I trust these slotters. Shibin Val has just gone for a sort of Hail Mary pit stop, and as you can see, he's losing quite a bit of time to Murcielago, who he is battling with. She just lost about a second in about 2 seconds there. As now Chillikill is going to try and get a move done on Ragnar here with the DRS as well, as it's still enabled, and he does get that move done very well there by Chillikill. Up into 4th place. He's having a good race as Chillikill. Of course, he had a 1 race ban after the crash in Austria that he served at the Silverstone Grand Prix, and now he's back with a vengeance, and he's having a fantastic drive here. But as you can see, it's clearly not time, as we had, I believe, the McLaren of Danny Bin Lahar spinning there. As you can see from the gap between Murcielago and Val, it's clearly not time to go to the Inters, as Val has lost about 5 seconds in about the last minute. So it's certainly the wrong call to go on any sort of intermediate tyres at the moment. But as I was mentioning here, that we have to watch out for Chazza in these wet weather conditions. The gap is now 2.5 seconds between Chazza and Ed. Chazza just has so much confidence in mixed conditions, and it's showing here as he's closing the gap to Ed. And if Ed isn't careful, he's going to find himself in a very, very tough battle here with Chazza. And Chazza at this stage in the championship has nothing to lose after he missed, well, those 4 races early on the season, from Bahrain all the way up to Spain, I believe. Chazza does not have anything to lose, and he'll be giving absolutely everything, whereas Ed has all to lose. He really, really needs this win, as I believe that was Maverick off in the gravel trap right there. Ed really needs to win this Grand Prix, especially with Bolt in 3rd place, if he really wants to take this battle, this championship battle, into the latter stages of the season. He really, really needs to win. That is for sure. So the conditions are starting to get a little bit more difficult. You can see here, as we're on board with Chazza, struggling from a little bit more understeer. Oh, Chazza has somehow stopped himself from spinning there. I thought as soon as he hit that curb that it was all over for Chazza. But he's done so well to make sure that he hasn't. His low power at the racing point here is going to get lapped. Already 18 laps in the lap's 8th place. That's quite remarkable. Shows you just how quick these two drivers are. As Lollapower's gone into the back of Chazza. Lollapower, what are you doing, fella? And now that has cost Chazza at least a second there, and that is oh so costly. You cannot be crashing into drivers who have lapped you. You just simply cannot be doing that, and I'm sure that Lola Power will be getting some form of penalty there, because it looks like Chazza was just about to start to launch an attack, and there's a big difference between a 3-second gap and a 2-second gap. And now we've got some yellow flags in sector 1 and 2 as Maverick has retired from the race, and we have the audio glitch with Bolt, who is and Ed has done a Lewis Hamilton there. He's just about made it into the pits, as both Chazza and Ed have decided, right, it is time to pit, and let's see what tyres they go on. Both of them are going to go on the intermediate tyres, and who is going to come out ahead first? It's going to be Ed. Oh, and Chazza just about squeezes ahead of the Racing Point. And if the Racing Point had crashed into the back of Chazza and then held him out coming out of the pits, I'm sure Chazza would have been absolutely fuming, as we have actually a virtual safety car, and that is why the drivers have decided to pit. And yeah, I think it is just about time for intermediate tyres. The drivers was really starting to struggle. And now the whole entire grid is going to come in for some intermediate tyres. Here we go, Ragnos, we're now back, as Val's got an actual time penalty, or sorry, a drive-through penalty for speeding under the virtual safety car. And DRS is still enabled, as Ed has gone massively wide there at the hairpin, really struggling still in these conditions, even though they've just switched on to the intermediate tyres. As now DRS has just been disabled, so the drivers have switched over at the exact point. But Ed struggling with the rear end of his car quite a bit there. Now let's see if Chazza can go to work. Here's a brilliant wet weather driver. Ed is going to have to produce some performance out to make sure that he wins this race. And as I was saying, he really needs to be gaining these 10 points on Bolt if he wants to take this championship battle into the latter stages of the season, as we've had Dougie Afferman get past Lyle Power, who is still on the medium compounded tyres and has now gone spinning around, just about avoids Chiller Killer there actually, and Ragno's behind him. He just about stays out of the way of Ragno, and well, now he needs to be coming into the pits, because well, he can't even keep the car on circuit at the moment. And that is just how wet the conditions are at the moment. That's how you trundle in eventually into the pit lane. And there we go. But a massive talking point, certainly in the chat afterwards, is going to be the Racing Point man's contact with Chazza, because if Chazza and Lola Power did not have contact there, I believe that Chazza would be in the lead this Grand Prix at this moment, as Ed literally had to do a Lewis Hamilton and cut across the grass to make sure he could come into the pit lane underneath the virtual safety car conditions, as we had the Mercedes of Maverick DC88 retiring from the Grand Prix. We have some yellow flags in sector 2, I believe, as Danny Bin Lahar's got a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as he's pitted off the soft compounded tyre. And now Chazza, he's just about within a second here of Ed now on lap, was soon to be lap 21 of 34. But he just had a little bit of a poor last sector there, did Chaz. He lost about 4/10, and that was mainly through the last 2 corners. As every time I go on board with Chaz, I don't know how he's not spinning through turn 1, especially given the practice that I did earlier, see on some time trial laps. It was absolutely hellish, was turn 1. You'd hit the bump, and then that bump would cause the car to be unstable, and then you couldn't go through turn 1 properly. But Chazza has got the gap just again underneath a second. With a little bit of a lock up there. Chazza taking a much tighter line through the hairpin than Ed, and that's allowing Ed to get a very good run out of the hairpin. But it doesn't matter, as Chazza really isn't close enough to be launching any sort of overtake at the moment. Of course, under these wet conditions there is no DRS. If it was dry conditions, being within a second of the driver in front would be rather massive, because he gains so much time down the straight. Scheckter gets out of the way of the leaders very well there, as Val is now coming to the pits. Well, let's see, we've had some yellow flags there. Might have been Val coming to the pit lane. I would be surprised. I would not be surprised if Val goes onto the wet tyre here. Val, he's already gambled by pitting early. No, he's gone onto the intermediate tyre, and he's just come out ahead of Ed, as we can see there in the foreground. So, now this is certainly the closest Chazza has been as we go onto the straight, and Chazza saved quite a humongous amount of ERS, as in the wet you don't exactly want to be running the highest ERS setting. Now all the way back down to 0, so Chazza's really saving up his ERS, and as you can see now the gap is 0.6 of a second, as we've got Danny Ibn Lahar letting the drivers through. But yeah, Chazza seemingly saving all of his ERS for the straights here, running absolutely no ERS, so that he doesn't punish the rear tyres through this part of the lap. And that's also one thing Chazza is very good at. I might have been at a similar pace to Chazza sometimes in the wet, but he'd always have better tyre life, and he's just always so good in these tyres as teammate, of course. But now Ed's getting slightly held up, I would say, here by the Alfa Romeo in front, and now Val would let both leaders through if he were to do the right thing, and indeed he does let both the leaders through. But Chazza, he's looking very comfortable here in these wet weather conditions, and he's now going to be about half a second behind Ed, as now they go onto the straight, and Chazza, look at that, he's got his ERS all the way turned up here. And if Chazza, he could get a good enough run here to make a move, you know. Here we go, Chazza in the absolute highest of overtake modes. He's gaining on Ed. He's gaining on the Mercedes driver. He's not going to be quite close enough. If he had DRS, he'd be able to get past there. That is for sure. But that's the beauty of wet weather racing. Every overtake is oh so difficult. And Chazza's really having to save up his ERS to make sure that he can get a move done. And as you can see, Ed is using a lot more ERS through this part of the track. He's all the way down in the low modes here in the first ERS setting, whereas Chaz is using absolutely none through the whole entire lap until we get to the main straight. And now to come through the final sector, final couple of corners. Chaz seems to be taking a much tighter line compared to Ed, and it does seem as if it is getting a little bit wetter here. Let's see if the drivers do go onto the wet weather tyres. As you can see, Chaz just had nowhere near as much confidence through turn 1 there as he did on the previous lap, where he just seemingly let the car run through turn 1. But Ed there, he's gone a little bit deep there, and that could allow Chaz to get a little bit of a run here on Ed. He's going to be in the absolute maximum overtake mode. He's gaining on the Mercedes driver. Ed defends the inside to make sure there isn't any potential send. Oh, Ed has absolutely parked the car in the middle of the apex, and let's see if Chaz can get a good enough exit. No, he can't quite. But now it's starting to get really close here between the Ferrari and the Mercedes driver. Chaz is starting to ask some questions, and with quite a bit remaining in this race, still Ed is going to be under lots and lots of pressure for these remaining laps. We're lap 24, 34, and he's going to be feeling the pressure from that red Ferrari behind is Ed, looming ever larger in his mirrors. Now just half a second behind through this last sector, and if Chaz can keep it close enough in these final couple of corners, he can perhaps get a move done on the main straight, but taking everything very tight. Just if Ed gets a good enough run, he is going to gain on Chaz, and there we go. The gap is just about now 7/10. But Chaz a little bit more aggressive through turn 1. He's closed the gap ever so slightly. Now to turn 2. Ed on the last lap did run a little bit deeper than I'd say he'd want to, but here we go. Chaz now up into all-out attack mode on the ERS, but he didn't get a good run that time. Out as Ed is going to maintain his lead for at least another lap, you'd think. As we have Val coming into the pits once more, and he's just lost his 8th place, so he's his 7th place to Lazar the Greek, and now he's fallen down into 8th as we've got some yellow flags here in the final sector. I wonder what that is for. Not for any of the leaders, as Ed nearly losing the rear end there. He had to go all over the curbing to correct it and to make sure that he didn't go spinning out. So we have got Schechter in the pit lane in 13th place, and it's fair to say he hasn't had the greatest Grand Prix of his life. All the way down in 13th, and Chazza, as you can see, looks like he was trying to push the car a little bit more there. Let's see, he's using ERS all the way through here, and that might be why. I think he's going for an entire lap where he uses all of his ERS, because he's noticed that his original plan of just saving the ERS for here isn't exactly going to work. And well, he's gaining now, but he has lost a little bit of time here to Ed in these last 2 laps. He's lost about half a second, and he's desperate to gain that all back now as they go at about 2 miles an hour through the hairpin, as the cars just simply aren't turning. They don't have the grip that the drivers want in these wet weather conditions, and now all of a sudden Chazza has gained back up onto Ed just like that. He's starting to use a little bit more ERS, this Chazza. And Ed certainly doesn't have exactly the most amount of ERS. He's only got about 30%, whereas Chazza has about 80%. So Chazza really needs to use this ERS advantage in his favour and try to get a move done on Ed here whilst he can. He's got a yellow flag in Sector 3. I wonder what it is for. A Schechter has retired from the Grand Prix. And now Danny Bin has gone trundling across the gravel as Bolt, with Danny Bin just sitting in the middle of the racing line, well, sitting on the racing line I should say, nearly goes crashing into the back of him. Well, at least I believe that was Danny Bin. But here we go, this is certainly the closest Chazza has been here, and Ed's rear end is squirming all over the place. And here we go, in setting number 5 for his ERS, Chazza. This is the closest he's going to get. He's going to try to make a move around the outside. He's gone for it. He's going to go for a switch back here is Chazza. And Ed, I think he might succumb to this. Chazza's got a pretty good run, and Chazza, I believe he's using more ERS than Ed at the moment. Yes, he is. It's going to go side by side through the flat out right hand up in these wet conditions. It's not entirely flat out, as now they're going side by side once more. But Ed, it looks like he's just about fended off or not. Chazza up the inside into the right hand. How can he get the move done? No, not quite. But this, is he going to think about going up the inside here? No, he's not. Chazza's attempts just about thwarted there by Ed. Fantastic racing in these wet conditions, giving each other just enough room. I thought Chazza had him there for a second, but Ed has done ever so well to maintain his position, and he's driving a fantastic race at this moment. I think Chazza's going to save up his ERS for another lap or so, and then he's going to launch another attack onto the Mercedes driver. That was a fantastic attempted switchback by Chazza. Just wasn't able to get the move done, but now it seems like Chazza really is putting Ed under pressure here, as now this is absolutely the closest he's been coming out of turn 3. And can Chazza now in hot lap mode, can he get the move done? He's gaining. Ed defends the inside line. Chazza's going to have to go the long way around once more. Ed is defending ever so well. They're side by side. Ed just about defends the position, as I don't think you can really turn the car enough to give enough room for the outside line there. As Chazza is going to try and send it up the inside, there's a little bit of wheel banging between the drivers, and once more, now Chazza has that outside line, which Ed used to his advantage. Chazza squirming all over the place, just wasn't able to find the traction there to get the move done, as Skull lets both these drivers through. As there's some yellow flags down Sector 1. There was sector flags in every part of the track there, so full course yellow. But Chazza is really starting to put Ed under pressure these last 2 laps. He's had some good opportunities, but Ed is defending that inside line at the hairpin. And that is winning Ed this race as things stand. I'm not sure how penalties lie. I know Chazza at least has 1 penalty, but not entirely sure if Ed has some penalties or not. And here we go, Chazza once again gaining on the Mercedes driver. And didn't have exactly the best exit there, did Chazza, and that might be his opportunity this time around. Waved goodbye, as Ed is still going to defend that inside line. I think Chazza, if he is going to get a move done, is going to have to go for a very late fake. He's going to go around the outside and then launch it up the inside. But now Chazza only has about 30% of his ERS left, but Ed only has about 10%. So Chazza is really trying to make sure that Ed has no ERS, and if Ed has no ERS, he's going to be absolutely an easy overtake down the main straight. But he's saving his ERS here through the last sector, and so is Chazza. I think both drivers realising that they need to perhaps save some ERS instead of just using it all. Chazza running wide there. Both drivers running wide, if I'm completely honest with you. Now once again through these penultimate 2 corners, Chazza taking such a tighter line. A little bit of a shaky corner gap there by Chazza, but it's not going to really mean anything, as Ed struggling through turn 1 a bit there, and Chazza is now all over the back of Ed. You think just a little bit of contact there, but nothing substantial, as now Chazza's taking a little bit of a different line, trying to get this move set up a little bit better. Now here comes the Ferrari down the main straight. Ed going to defend the inside line once again, going all the way to the track. Chazza trying to go around the outside, but Ed breaks a little bit later than him. He's going to have to try some sort of switchback. Is Chazza, and it looks like he's got a decent amount of traction coming out this corner. They're going to go side by side through this right-hander. Chazza is ahead for the time being. Ed with the inside line, and Chazza I don't think is going to be able to make a move. No, he's not. Very well defended once again by Ed. He's defending that inside line. He's making sure that he's not giving Chazza that inside line into the hairpin, and at the moment that is what is winning him that Grand Prix. If Chazza can some way find his way up the inside there, I think that is race over, as Lyle Power just about gets out the way. Oh my goodness gracious me. And if he had just collected Chazza, then he was just coming back onto the circuit, I'm sure that the man from the south of England would have absolutely lost his head. It's now Ed, a little bit wide there through turn 1. He's just about got away with it by running off circuit. Chazza once again, oh so close. Through turn 2, now through turn 3, and onto the main straight. What can Chazza do? This is the closest he's been. He's gaining massively already down the back straight on Ed. Can he get the move done here? He's going to be ahead going into the corner. He's ahead. Chazza has taken the lead of the German Grand Prix, and has he got the car stopped? He just about has, but no. Oh, and Ed loosens the rear end and goes a little bit into the side of Chazza. That could have been absolute disaster. And now Chazza, finally, after laps and laps and laps of pressure, has taken the lead of the German Grand Prix here from Ed. Oh my days, as it's actually just stopped raining here, so the last couple of laps are going to be under, well, certainly it's going to be under dry conditions as well, I was just about to say, but there's going to be no added precipitation here. As dead fast TBD. Jeff told me it wasn't slippery as I thought, so I decided to floor it through turn 1. Didn't go so well. Well, that's not what you want, but we're going to have to pay attention here. Really going to have to pay attention here between this battle between Chazza and Ed. Ed just seems to be struggling a little bit more through turn 1 than what Chazza is, and that is really what enabled Chazza to be able to get the move done. He got close enough here through turn 2, and then with the amount of ERS had, he was able to get the move here down the main straight, and Ed just seems to be struggling with the rear end of his car in general a little bit more than Chazza in these wetter conditions. The application of throttle perhaps is a little bit too sharp, something I certainly struggled with in the wet conditions, but No rain here at the moment. Let's see if Chazza can hold on in these remaining laps of the Grand Prix. And Chazza, I believe he now has to save some fuel. And yeah, as you can see, he's running in absolutely no ERS. I assume he's going to also be running in as low as fuel mode as possible. As our Bolt has taken some sort of risk and has gone onto the soft compounded tyres, and that is a big mistake. That's for sure. You can see how much he's struggling coming out of the pit lane, and he's going to just go straight on here. It's nowhere near time for soft tyres, and the lapped car behind of Laz the Greek, I believe, is all over the back of him, as we've still got the sound glitch on board there, and that's a big shame. As now Ed nearly a second away from Chazza, and Ed, oh, he's nearly threw it away. Second place there. I thought he had for a moment there, as he went very aggressively into turn one, trying absolutely everything he has to try and get this first place from Chazza. And now, using a little bit of ERS, is getting a little bit on Chazza down the back straight, but no longer, as Chazza still has got the fuel light on. So Chazza could be in trouble here. He really could be in trouble here with some fuel. But he's not short shifting or anything like that, so one would have to assume that he does have that under control, as it looks like it could be just about time to go into onto some soft tyres, as Bolt really isn't losing as much time as you'd think to Ragno. But of course, with 2 laps left, this being the penultimate lap, you're not going to be going onto any different compounded tyre for these drivers, because you'd absolutely throw away the win at that stage. But yeah, I'd say that's a big mistake there by Bolt. He's thrown away third place, and he's gifted Ed still a good amount. Oh, and that is crucial. That could be the deciding moment in this race. Ed has just picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings on the penultimate lap of the Grand Prix, and I'm not entirely sure if he did have a penalty prior to that. I know for sure that Chazza does have a penalty, as now ERS is enabled. As you can see, the track is now pretty much bone dry, as we now are on the final lap of the Grand Prix, and what has been a fantastic battle, absolute chaos early on, and a fantastic battle between Ed and Chazza for the win in the second half of the race in the intermediate conditions. And now Chazza does not have long until he can claim victory here in Hockenheim. And Ed, I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about Chazza's lead at the moment. Chazza seems to have everything under complete and utter control, and it looks like he is just about going to have enough fuel to get home. Is Chazza. That yellow light was on for quite some stage. And here we go. Oh, I think Chazza might just be right on the edge of running out of fuel here. You can hear when he's not on the throttle, he's very, very low on fuel. But here we go. Chazza wins the Hockenheim Grand Prix, but unfortunately, due to penalties, he loses the Grand Prix. Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking for Chazza. He drove such a fantastic race. The gap between Ed and himself was about 4 seconds at one stage, and he clawed it back. He crossed the finish line first, but Chazza, due to penalties, finishes in second place. We have Chiller Killer absolutely swerving all over the track, who's going to be absolutely thrilled to finish in third place. But here we go. Let's see if our Bolt can do anything about Ragno's lead here, as he's absolutely thrown it absolutely everywhere over the track. Val's going to come back ahead, making sure that there isn't any chance. Oh, but here we go, Bolt. Can he get the move done? He's got the DRS. No, he can't. And I tell you what, Bolt is going to be absolutely fuming at Val there, because he got in the way. He absolutely impeded Bolt there into the final corner. And that is the race over and done with, as Lower Power, not for the first time, goes into the back of back of a Ferrari. And that is, of course, that is actually Chazza as well. So, quite fitting that that is how we end. But Ed, he's going to take the win home here. And he's going to gain quite an amount of points on Bolt in the championship battle, as he's taken home first place. And Bolt has finished all the way down in P5. So, it's going to be quite an amount of points collected. Yep, and Bolt is absolutely fuming. He's already put blue flags in the chat. He is absolutely fuming because he would have finished in 4th place then. But there you go, Chazza with just one more penalty than Ed, and Ed of course did pick up that penalty on the penultimate lap, so he would have won by a little bit more if he had not picked up that penalty. But yeah, Ed, he's gained quite an amount of points on Bolt in the championship battle here. Important race, important race for the championship battle. But yeah, Ed finishes on first, Chazza finishes second, third is Chillikiller, fourth is Ragnar, fifth is Bolt, sixth is Mochilaga, seventh is Val, eighth is Doug Yaffman, ninth finishes Liza the Greek, 10th is Law Power, Skull in 11th, Danny Milhar 12th, Schechter for 12th, Maverick 14th, and Testmeister in 15th. Well, this Bolt is absolutely fuming in the chat. Fucking, he's beep. Colorblind traffic needs to learn to get out the beeping way. Disgusting driving. Also, raid is 4 hour. Well, I can't say that. I can't be saying that. I can't be saying that on stream. But honestly, yeah, I do agree that blue flags do need to be paid attention to, because I think you would have got Ragnar there if Val did not get in your way. But yes, that has been it for the German Grand Prix live stream, and we'll see you back here at 9:30 p.m. Central European Time on a Sunday, next Sunday. I can't remember what Grand Prix we actually have. Is it the Hungarian Grand Prix? Is it Spa? I can't actually remember. Can't remember what race is next. But yeah, that has been me, Niblo, and yeah, we'll see you later.